Hi, just your friendly neighborhood Pilates instructor here to tell you that it is okay to stay at a beginner level. You do not need to add all of these things, okay? I know some people, they want to get out of the beginner level as fast as they can. They're like, how many classes or how many weeks till I can progress? And I understand that sometimes maybe the different a class is offered at a time of day that works for your work schedule. Um, but really, we want you to get the foundations down before we start adding in all these things, okay? I want you to start getting your bridging down with both legs before we start to go to one leg, before we start adding in magic circle. I want you to get your marching down before we start adding a band to it. Really solidify those basics before you start worrying about that, okay? I would much rather you master what you have and then start to build. You can start to build in a beginner class. We talk about that with the different levels. So think about with your triceps, right? How you move you increase the angle, you can increase the work you're doing on your triceps. When you're in tabletop, after you mastered tabletop, you bring your legs up to the ceiling. After that, you lower down. Get yourself feeling very comfortable and secure doing those things before you start to move on. You can always ask your instructor, say, hey, I'm really wanting to work up to level one. Like, what are some things we can work on? A huge thing is pelvic stability. You're like, what are you talking about? I noticed I was telling my dad the differences in some of the studios that I had worked at. And I was like, yeah, there's a lot of younger clientele at this studio and they really have no pelvic stability. He's like, what? So think about when you're doing marching. I'm gonna look super silly right now. But like we want to keep everything nice and stable, right? You're just doing your marching. There's a lot of people that they don't, or they come into an intro class, think they can put on all these heavy weights, and they're just moving everywhere. We don't want that. I would love it if somebody came and said, hey, I'm really looking at trying to level up. What are some things I can work on? And sometimes I'm going to say pelvic stability because that's cool if you can hold a plank for 5 minutes. Yay for you. But I don't want you adding different props when we can't just keep something like this very stable. It's very easy to tell when we're doing footwork. 9 times out of 10, I can tell if somebody is not ready to go to a next level because of how their hips and their pelvis are moving. If you can't keep that down, then we really shouldn't be adding things on top of it. So just really be okay staying with it. Just get really great at doing that. Work with your instructor. Maybe if you're able to schedule a few private or one-on-one sessions so they can actually pinpoint, be like, yep, this is what we can work on during class. This is what we can work on. It's a lot of times it's so worth it. I've had clients do that where they'll do just a couple one-on-one classes so we can see what we need to work on. And then they're always the person that people look to because they're doing things correctly. You can get that when you're not in a group class. And again, pelvic stability, it's one of those things where it's a lot easier to kind of talk about one-on-one, and also because it's kind of awkward in a group class when somebody's like, nope, keep this, and you're obviously, it's a little bit trickier. So be okay staying a beginner, master those basics before you start adding in all these things. Okay, it'll be worth it in the long run, I promise you.